Hello, everybody. This is Finfine News Network, and I'm Daniel Dubaba. The Ethiopian government's killing spree continued against the Oromo civilians, mostly minors, in the month of September 2023. In recent months, a disturbing and tragic series of events has unfolded in the Oromia region of Ethiopia as the Ethiopian government appears to have been engaged in a harrowing spree of violence, mostly against the Oromo youth. The unsettling saga began early August when the Ethiopian government actions resulted in the loss of 11 lives, predominantly consisting of Oromo families residing in the Chobi district of West Shawadon. This devastating toll included a newlywed couples, children under the age of 1, and an elderly individual over the age of 75. Reports suggested that the Ethiopian Defense Forces, ostensibly on search operation against the Oromo Liberation Army, unexpectedly descended upon a gathering of farmers who were peacefully drinking coffee in their homes. Tragically, this encounter ended in the loss of 3 family members, as recounted by one of the grieving father of the deceased groom. The wave of violence continued unabated into September, affecting various zones within the Oromia region. In this September, incidents attributed to the Prosperity Party forces, the victims included a 4-year-old named Wabi Soresa, along with 7 other underage youths in separate incidents across Oromia. Among the youth's lives tragically cut short by the Prosperity Party forces were Danga Insam, Hundesa Banti from Sa Binyam, who were among 3 youths killed in Amflo district of Kalemolaga zones around 600 kilometers west of the capital, which is about 400 miles west of Finfinne or Addis Ababa. Additionally, Misgano Buli in Cebu, Sri East Walaga zone, and Bonsa Machi Abosa, Dale Gunjo Tufa, and Gitacho Gunjo made untimely fate at the hands of the Ethiopian National Defense Forces in Burbursa locality of Dugda district, East Shawadon of Oromia. Alarming parallels are being drawn between this ongoing violence against the Oromo youth, against the Oromo civilians, and the dark chapter of the Red Terror that took place between 1976 and 1978 in Ethiopia under the leadership of Derg regime. The Derg regime during those times targeted its own opponents and tried to murder a number of them, killing close to 10,000 to up to 980,000, according to some news. The current killing spree that's taking place in Oromia is really concerning and is continuing unabated, and it's increasing in intensity from month to month. Every day, the Ethiopian government forces are killing Oromo youth across different districts and zones of Oromia. None of these youths that are targeted are armed, and most of them are taken from their homes. Some are imprisoned, and they sustained heavy injuries while under the custody of the government forces, and some of them are taken out and killed and thrown into bushes. Among those who are killed in this manner are Danga Insa. Danga Insa, as you will see, is this young boy who was taken from his home in Amflo district of Oromia in Kalemolaga zone of Oromia. He was taken, he was tortured while in the custody of Ethiopian government security forces, and he was killed and thrown into bush. As we will see, Two other youths who were captured by Ethiopian security forces also were killed. Only one survived among four youths who were captured from Amphilo area from their homes. As you can see, Emmanuel Wandimu was killed only 2 years ago by the Ethiopian security forces in a roundabout in a town called Dambidolo. Danga Insa was killed on September 8th, close to about 2 years from when Emmanuel Wandimu was executed while the public were watching in a roundabout in Damdolo town 2 years ago in 2021. Along with Danga, two other youths were killed from Amphilo. These are the kills, the youths who were arrested and detained and tortured, along with Danga, and two of those four kids are said to have also been killed with Danga. So Danga is the second one, and I assume I don't have the exact name, face matching information so far, but three of these four young kids were killed by the Ethiopian security forces on beginning from around May 8th. The bodies of the two others have not been found so far. The body of Danga in South said to have been found somewhere in the locality of Kalangolaga zone. This is Misganu Buli. He was killed in Sibusre district in East Wallaga zone of Oromia. All the Oromo youths that have been deceased so far are all killed by the Ethiopian security forces, the Ethiopian government, Prosperity Party loyal security forces. Very annoying and unsettling is the murder of a young child, only 4 years old, by the Ethiopian security forces. No one can justify the killing of a young child as old as 4 years. Among those who have been so far killed by the Ethiopian security forces are those under the age of 1 year, especially in August, around August 8, August 9. Those who were killed in Chobi district in West Shawa zone included those who are as young as 1 years old and those who are as old as 75 years old. So the Ethiopian security forces killing spree in Oromia especially targets the youth, but it doesn't spare anyone. Those as aged as old as 75 are also the target, and the Ethiopian security forces killing spree in Oromia. So the data points to a discernible pattern wherein the region forces are increasingly targeting Oromo youth, even including children under the age of 18. This disturbing trend raises question about whether the Ethiopian government has adopted a systematic policy that permits the continuous unchecked murder of Oromo civilians. Concerns are mounting as there has been a conspicuous absence of accountability for the brutalities inflicted upon the Tigrayan people by the Ethiopian government brutal forces of Abiy Ahmed and his defense forces. And this has seemingly emboldened the Ethiopian government to intensify extrajudicial killings against the Oromo youth, against the Oromo civilians in the state of Oromia. So in the months of August and in the month of September, the Ethiopian security forces have continued extrajudicial killing of Oromo youth. So far, according to our sources, the Ethiopian government security forces have killed more than 20 Oromo civilians in the months of August and in the months of September. We have received even more disturbing news that several, close to 100 people have been died, but we have no evidence so far. So we are still searching for evidence into the mass killing that has taken place in the central Oromia and West and North Shower zones. So far, the Infinite News Network has confirmed the murder of close to 18, 19 individuals by Ethiopian security forces only in the months of August and in the months of September. So far, in the month of September, we have received the names of 8 individuals, most of whom are young children who were taken from their homes and they were brutally murdered by the Ethiopian security forces. In a matter that looks like this is a policy that is handed down to the Ethiopian security forces by the government of Abiy Ahmed and by the government of Shimalis Abdisa of the government of Oromia. This killing has continued. Nobody has been held accountable. Ethiopian security forces conduct a killing spree with impunity, and nobody is held accountable. And this is continuing from day to day. And every day we receive a news of a young individuals being killed by Ethiopian security forces in different locations in Oromia. This has continued, and so far it doesn't seem to has garnered any international attention. No media, as far as I know, has so far reported on the killing spree that's being conducted by the Ethiopian government security forces in Oromia, on Oromo youth, specifically under the age of 18. It's not very clear what the purpose of this killing spree is, but it seems that the Ethiopian government security forces are targeting perceived sympathizers of the Oromo Liberation Army, or those who have been reported by their cells in the locality as members of the Oromo Liberation Army or supporters of the Oromo Liberation Army. The Ethiopian government accuses those they target as members of what they call Shane, a kind of derogatory name that they have coined to refer to the Oromo Liberation Army. Uh, the killing that they conduct in Oromia is always attributed to perceived membership or support for the Oromo Liberation Army. But none of these youths, including, as you can see, a child who is only 4 years, have been one of the victims of the Ethiopian security forces. And no one can justify the killing of a young child as young as 4 years, 1 year, at the hands of the Ethiopian security forces. And this has been continuing, and so far it doesn't seem to have garnered the attention of international organizations, human rights organizations, or news outlets. And so we will continue to monitor. We'll continue to raise awareness about the ongoing killing spree by the Ethiopian government security forces in what looks like similar to the Red Terror that was conducted by Derg between 1976 to 1978. The Derg regime at that moment targeted its opponents, mostly political opponents, who were residing in urban areas, especially in Finfinne, also known as Addis Ababa. During the time, more than 10,000 people have been confirmed to have been killed by the Derg regime, but the number ranges up to even 980,000 individuals. The current killing spree that's being conducted by the Ethiopian government also seems to have certain purpose, even though it's not very clear. It's not announced, but there is a very clear pattern of a continuous killing of individuals, especially the youth in Oromia region. And this is the moment where the Ethiopian government is also conducting a parallel military operation against the Amara troops in the Amara state. And in Amara state as well, there is an evidence that the Ethiopian government has been targeting civilians. And also the Amara news outlets are reporting that the Ethiopian security forces have sustained a lot of losses at the hands of Fano. Infinite News Network has not independently confirmed any military gains from the Fanos part or from the side of the government. Anyways, the Ethiopian government security forces are conducting a similar operation in the Amara state, while where they are also targeting civilians. There were several civilians being reported by Amara news outlet that were targeted and killed by Ethiopian security forces. But we have not heard anything similar to what is being taking place in Oromia right now. In Oromia, almost on daily basis, at least a couple of Oromo youths are executed extrajudicially by the Ethiopian security forces, and nobody is held accountable. No reports has been heard from the government media outlet in Ethiopia, as well as from the international media outlets. We'll continue to monitor and expose the killing spree that's being conducted by the Ethiopian government security forces and Oromia regional government forces against the Oromo civilians who are perceived as sympathizers of the Oromo Liberation Army by the Ethiopian government security apparatus. This has been Daniel Libaba. Thank you for watching. Please share our program with your followers and friends. Subscribe to our channel. And if you have any news concerning what is going on in Oromia or elsewhere in Ethiopia, please reach out to us. We'll be covering it. And this has been Finfine News Network on the killing spree of the Ethiopian government against the Oromo youth that has taken place over the last 2 months, specifically over September and August. According to our news, a young child as young as 4 years old was among the victims of the Ethiopian government forces in the month of September. We'll continue to cover and monitor this, and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching for today. This I'll say goodbye. See you next time.